out, man. So we'll get right into it, man. I mean, you definitely have man, you have like a true what could have been a tragedy to triumph story. And I was like so impressed. I mean, I already knew about you, but I really was like doing my research on you, man. You got like a really amazing story. And before we get all into the story, literally one of my first questions is, what's your favorite scene from Beat Street?
I see you did your research. My favorite scene from Beat Street is definitely the scene where the DJ is in they're on the upper level and he plugs up the stuff from the electricity that he stole, and then he said, "It's working,
Yes.
it's working," and then he starts DJing and everybody starts dancing. And that's really not just the movie, that's the scene that made me fall in love with being a DJ. I was 10 years old when I seen that movie, and from 10 until now, DJing has literally been my life and saved my life.
That's what's up. And I already know you got your first turntables at 10 years old. Were you self-taught at 10, or did somebody else have to teach you how to
I was self-taught. For Christmas, I got some turntables, and I had like a couple of DJs in the neighborhood that were a little older, that were already DJing. So I would like just kind of watch what they were doing, and I would literally just go home every day and just practice in my basement, literally every single day of my life. And when I say every, I mean every day, Monday through Monday. I would come home from school, and I was in the basement for hours at a time, and I'm glad I did because it's paid off.
And would you say, what was the hardest concept for you to grasp about DJing? Was it like blending the record? What
Absolutely
songs to
blending.
play?
I mean, DJing is not easy. I know we'll probably talk about it. I own a DJ school now, but DJing is not easy. I mean, it's not just from blending, from doing a smooth transition from one song to the next, learning how to scratch on beat, learning how to count bars. All that I really just taught myself from trial and error. I would do something, or I'll make a mixtape, and I would listen to it back, and I'll be like, I don't like this, and then I would just do it over until I liked it.
So since you brought it up already, since you brought up your school for teaching people how to DJ, and I think that's really dope. I think that's a dope way to give back and teach other people the craft or whatever. When you
Mm-hmm.
first starting with them like a beginner, do you make them learn how to blend a record before they can use like a technology like a Serato, like just like straight vinyl, or you just like, oh, it's cool, we can go straight into like that? Because I know
So the
a lot
thing
of
is, most we teach the class on a controller,
mhm,
which is like a CDJs mixed with a mixer,
mhm,
not on turntables. Only because like I'm still a turntables at heart, but most nightclubs and places worldwide, turntables really aren't the thing anymore. Most people are doing using CDJs or controller,
mhm,
but we teach the fundamentals. So we don't teach sync buttons where it does it for you. We
mhm.
literally teach you how to count bars 1 to 8. We teach you how to start on a one. We teach you how to do a smooth transition and hold the blend for 8 bars. Like we really teach the fundamentals of DJing. No push buttons. Like you're really going to learn how to use and manipulate the platters to speed it up, slow it down, use your tempo, and use your headphones to make sure it sounds right. Like we really teach DJing at Quick and Easy DJs.
That's what's up. And you talked about a smooth transition, and I'm going to actually transition back to now. Let's take it back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I know you were shot, I believe, at the age of 13. So can you tell us about like that experience? Like, what was the situation where you ended up getting shot? And then for those 9 months you were paralyzed as a 13-year-old, what was going through your mind, and how did you bounce back from that?
Well, the crazy thing is, like I said, I started DJing at the age of 10, but I also started playing football at the age of 10. So my dream was never to be this world-renowned DJ. It was to be a football star. So I was actually really good. Like I mean, I got trophies, and I've even framed one of my jerseys because I went to the Super Bowl when I was right before I got shot when I was 13. With the Northwood Rams. So I was really really good at football. So that was my passion. I was gonna be the next Ronnie Lott, the next Bo Jackson in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So when I got shot, and like I said, I can't get too many details, but I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, doing the wrong things. And I got shot, and like I said, I was on bed rest for 9 months. At the I think the hardest part for me, one being a 13-year-old getting shot. Your first thought is I don't want to die. I remember saying to the cops when they came, like I don't want to die. I don't want to die. So once I realized that I wasn't going to die, being in the hospital, and I remember the doctor telling me, potentially you might not walk again.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the hardest pill. That was the hardest pill to realize. It wasn't about walking. What I heard was you're never going to play football again. which I haven't. So from then on now, I've never played football. So that ended my football dreams. And that really took a toll on me mentally because that was all I wanted to be in life was a football player. However, God doesn't make any mistakes, I believe. Even when you think it is, it's not. Because if that would not have happened, I probably wouldn't have pursued DJing at the level I pursued it. And not saying that I wouldn't have made it to the NFL, but the chances of me making it to the NFL, I'm not a big guy. I was really good at football at 13, but at the size I am now, I doubt if I would have been in the NFL. But now I've made it to the NFL of DJing by being one of the biggest DJs in the world. I always say, everything happens the way it's supposed to happen, and your life is tailor made for you, whether you know it or not.
That's what's up. And then, well, you mentioned it. You mentioned Bo Jackson. Were you a running back and Ronnie Lau, or are you like a cornerback?
Well, both. So I was a running back. I was starting middle linebacker and starting tailback.
Oh, that's what's up. Okay.
I was definitely averaged 2-3 touchdowns every game. I was a beast.
Okay. And I know you, you know what, that's funny. I thought I was too when I was young, but I never went to that. But anyway, and I'm a little guy, but anyway, moving forward a little bit. I know you unfortunately lost your parents at a young age, but from that time where you started contemplating and practicing your DJ, and I believe I read that your dad is the one who bought you your turntables. Were your parents, at least at a young age, thinking that's something you could do as a profession, or did they look at it like a hobby?
So my mom died when I was 10. So she never ever got a chance to experience DJ Quicksilva. When she passed, I wasn't DJ Quicksilva yet. I started DJing at the age of 10, literally like almost right after she passed. So she never was a part of the DJ aspect of my life. Before I was in love with DJing, I'm a pianist, so I play the piano and drums. My mom was a pianist at church, and she taught me how to play the piano at a very young age. So by the age of 8 or 9, I was already playing the drums in church every Sunday. So I was always musically inclined and musically just gifted. And then when my dad got my turntables, he knew, but I didn't. I remember him telling. I got my first residency as a DJ. I was 14 years old. I'm living in Baltimore at the time, a club called Club Indigo. And I remember when I got that first gig, everybody in my family told my dad how crazy it was. And now as a dad, I get why they looked at him like that. But my whole family, they're like, there's no way you should be allowing this 14-year-old kid to be in a nightclub every night. Like, that's to set them up for failure. He's not even old enough to be in the club. Why is he even there DJing? And I remember my dad saying, and I quote, if Michael Jackson's dad would have told him he was too young to sing, he never would have became Michael Jackson. So I say that to say, I believe my dad saw something in me and believed in me even before the rest of the world did. And I'm glad that he did, because it's paid off tenfold at this point in my life.
Now, at 14, you got your residency and Club Indigo or whatever. Do you think the combination of, you unfortunately being shot at a young age, even losing your parents at a young age, and DJing in these clubs at a very young age, do you think that spread up your maturation process? Do you think you were mature at a younger age because of all these things?
I'm positive I was. By the age of 18, I was already living on my own. I bought my first home at 21. So a lot of times when people are doing their first things in life, I had already been there, done that. By the age of 16, I bought my first car. A lot of things that people were aspiring to do, I was already doing. But not by choice, by force. I was forced to grow up at a very young age. Like I said, by 18, literally just graduated from high school, my dad passed away. So I was forced to go get me an apartment. And from then on, I've been living on my own. I've never had a roommate in my life. I've been taking care of myself from 18 to now. I think I was forced to grow up because of my circumstances. But like you say, God doesn't make any mistakes, so I'm not going to complain about it.
Okay. And when was the moment for you, before we get a transition into some of the radio stuff, when was the moment for you that you absolutely knew you were the shit at being a DJ? You know what? I'm really good at this. When was that moment?
I got a couple of moments. I think one, when I won my first DJ contest. I was in a DJ contest with Pepsi DJs. That was one big, and I think the moment that really stands out the most, on top of me touring with all your favorite artists over the years, I think when I won my first Global Spin Award. So if anybody's watching that does not know what the Global Spin Awards is, it's the highest of the highest. It's literally the best of the best in the world. And I'm not only have I won one, I've won two in my lifetime. But it's like the Oscars or the Grammys for DJs. So I remember being at the first Global Spin Awards, and everybody's there. So whoever you could think of, from your biggest to from DJ Khaled's to Tiesto's to whoever your biggest, Jazzy Jeffs, like anybody you can think of who's a big name worldwide DJ, they're all there, and they're all nominated for something. And I was the only person in that room nominated for anything that's from this area, which in itself, like, I'm looking at all these guys, and they're all from, New York, LA, some are from different parts of the world. But I'm a guy that's born and raised in East Baltimore, in the same room with them. And not just am I in the same room, I'm not there as a bystander. I'm there as a participant who's nominated. So at that point, I already felt accomplished. I mean, even if I don't win anything, I'm in the room with all the biggest DJs in the world, not on the East Coast, on the West Coast, in the world, like literally the globe. And when I was nominated, I kept thinking, there's no way I'm going to win, because I think the first category I won was like me, Funk Flex, Kid Capri, Envy. I mean, all these big New York DJs and I'm like, there's no way this guy from Baltimore is going to beat me. It's impossible. But when they announced that I was winning, DJ Drama, who's a great friend of mine, he was actually the presenter. And DJ Drama came on stage, and he was talking about, the award. I forgot what I was up for that year. But he's announcing all the categories, and then, they go through the names. And when he said, and the winner is, he's like, oh man, this is my guy. I'm proud of him. I'm like, who's he talking about? DJ Quicksilva. I paused, like I didn't even move. I was like, no Quicksilva there?
Right.
Shit, I won. And at that moment, it hit me that I'm no longer a local or regional DJ. I'm really a worldwide household name. And I'm glad that I didn't let that get to my ego, because even after winning, I kept working like I was trying to make a point. But that was one of the moments that really hit me, to say that, you know what, this guy's really, I don't want to say I've made it, but I've gotten to a level in my life now where DJing has really changed everything about my life.
That's what's up, bro. And me personally, unfortunately, I haven't been to a DJ Quicksilva party, but I will try to make one at some point.
That is, I've been DJing in clubs for 25 years, and in 25 years, you've never been to one of my parties.
Not one, bro. My bad. That's my bad. But you know what?
Where you from? Where you from?
I'm from Chicago, but I lived in LA for about 13 years. I'm in Chicago right now, too.
I'll actually be I'll be in LA this week. I'm playing in LA Thursday and Friday. I just got back from Chicago too. I was in Chicago. I was in Houston last weekend.
Okay.
I'll be to Chicago. My guy DJ Ferris is there. That's one of my good friends.
Oh yeah, Ferris. Yeah, definitely grew up on DJ Ferris in the Chi.
My guy.
I promise you, I will be at one of your parties. I did. It ain't the same, but I watched a few videos of, like, how you get down, and you I know it's not the same. And you got this quote that I saw somewhere. It might have just been on your IG, but you said, "I don't DJ, I perform." Can you tell me the difference between the two?
A DJ plays records. Like, a DJ, the term for DJ is disc jockey. That's what DJ stands for. And most of them, they play records. I mean, they literally, some of them are good at it. They play records, and they play the right records, and they let the records play and let the records breathe. I perform. Like, I really put on a show. Like, I really do a lot of crowd response. So I'm like a MC DJ combination. A lot of dope DJs, they travel with an MC who controls, which is master of ceremony. So you have disc jockey and master of ceremony. So a lot of your best, biggest DJs, they really don't talk about it like it. They have a guy or girl who travels with them, and they do all the hyping while they just play the music. I really perform. Like, I really put on a show. I stop the music when I need to. I talk when I need to. I like to set up my records when I want to set them up. I say something with the intention that the crowd is going to say it back. And when they say it back, the record drops at that exact moment. And then, like, I really get into what I'm doing. I'm not just sitting there playing records. I'm really dancing with the people. I jump in the audience. Like, I'm a different beast, man, when I'm DJing at nightclubs, like, versus the radio. Radio is something different, because radio is theater of the mind. I'm normally in my studio when I'm on the radio. But in a nightclub, I feed off of energy. So, like, I'm really, when people see me, they're like, you really, like, you DJ like you're performing like at a concert. And I treat every show the exact same, whether I'm DJing for 100 people or 5,000 people or 30,000 people. I'm going to put on a show like I have a point to prove. And I don't care who I'm DJing with. This might sound egotistical, and I don't mind when I say this because I know I am who I say I am. Whoever I'm DJing with, I'm never intimidated. Like if you're good, I'm gonna be better. It doesn't matter, like whatever you play, and I play a lot of DJs, and I know a lot of so-called big name DJs. They be like, no, don't play this record before I get on. I tell DJs, play everything, play every record you want, play every new record, every record, because I know for a fact there's one record you're gonna forget. I'm gonna start with that record, and I'm gonna change the whole vibe of the party. And that's really what I've been about. And I've played with every DJ known to man. And I don't have like one style. I think my manager Sean Caesar said to me, he said, Crick, what makes you one of the greatest is that your range. Like I can play literally for any crowd. Like some DJs are really good with old school, but you can never put them in the 21 up party.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys are really good with trap music, but you can never put them in a reggae party. Or some guys are super dope reggae DJs, but you can never put them at a Sunday party with church music or a jazz brunch. Like I literally can play everything. I can be in Houston one day, Miami the next day, Washington, D.C. the next day, Chicago the next day, then fly to Jamaica and then come right back to Baltimore. All in 1 week. And this is like my real life. And then every party is a completely different age bracket, completely different crowd, different backgrounds, races. And every party I treat the same. Every party, I don't care what music form you booked before, I can play every form of music known to man, and I play it well. And I think that's what separates me from a lot of the other dope DJs, because there's a lot of dope DJs that I look up to, but I know their sets. Like when I hear him, I'm like, I know he gonna play this. He playing all trap. He gonna play all old school. Like I know their sets. Like but hold up, but they're really good at it. They're really good at it. So like if you book him or her for that old school brunch, he gonna kill it. But you can't put him at Live on Sunday because he gonna stink it up because he don't know the new records. Or you can put him there, but you can't put him at the old school brunch because he don't know the records. And I think that's what separates me. I'm a lot of people don't realize I'm young. I'm only 40 years old, but I've been DJing for 25 years. So like my musical range is 3 decades. So I can play the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and presents like the best of them. And I think that's what separates me from a lot of DJs.
That's what's up, bro. Now, one of my personal favorite party DJs, or just DJs in general, and he used to tour with Skills, is Jazzy Jeff. I just think Jazzy Jeff is incredible, right? Like
I just played with him recently. I love him. One of my favorite DJs.
Yeah, one of my favorite. So I was gonna ask you, you call yourself the party kingpin, but if DJ Quicksilva just trying to relax, have a good time, have a drink and vibe, who is the DJ that's gonna play your party? Like who would you book?
Well, man, Jazzy Jeff is one of the greats. I think nobody deny that. But actually, 2 of my favorite party DJs are not. I mean, they're worldly names on the party circuit, but these are guys that I would put up against any of your so-called household name DJs. So outside of myself, and like I mentioned, whenever I DJ with DJs, I'm never intimidated. I'm always like, I know for a fact I'm going to kill it. But these 2, and it's a couple of them, but these 2 guys that I'll mention, these 2 guys, whenever I DJ with them, it's like now I know I'm gonna kill it, but now I gotta really bring my A. Okay. I know we're gonna battle it out, and one of us are gonna win that day, but the next day we're gonna be like, yeah, you got me that night, but I'm gonna get you tomorrow. My guy and they actually both from New York. One is Caribbean, one's not. DJ Self and a guy named Young Child. Those are 2 of my favorite party DJs. And why? Because they bring that energy of performance. They really perform when they DJ. And that's why I tell DJing is not just about playing the right records. It's about playing the right records at the right time and saying the right thing to go with that record. A lot of DJs and hosts don't get that. They just scream on the mic and they want to be loud and they scream their name all night. But it's about setting up records and creating the theater of the mind. So if I say something about right now, I'm thirsty and I'm drinking water, I come right on with water dance. You know what I mean? Because like it has to be a thing that you're painting a picture. And that's something that I do as well as my guys, DJ Self and Young Child. They do amazingly. And like I say, I will put us three against any of your favorite DJs in the world. Anybody, you can name them. And I mean, anybody. I don't care who it is. Like when it comes to party rocking, because there's different types of DJs. You have turntablists who are really technical, but they suck at rocking the party. But then you have some DJs that can rock a party, but their skill set sucks. Like they can't scratch and blend. And so I think that's one thing that separates me is that I'm a turntablist first. So I can battle with the best of them, but I
Yeah.
also can rock a party with the best of them. And a lot of people can't do both. A lot of people are really good at their music selection and they're curators of the culture. But put them in a battle hands on, they can't do any scratching, check, like nothing. That they're no scratch, no crab, no orbits. Like they don't have that skill set,
Yeah.
but they're super dope at playing the right records.
Yeah. I won't say no names, but
No, no,
I done been to
we not.
we ain't gonna do that, but I've been
No.
to a lot of parties, and one thing that I can't stand, I have a great appreciation for music, so I do like music history, music culture, and all that, but I don't really want that at a party. And I've been at parties where a DJ is trying to do that, and it kind of kills the vibe of the party. I'm like, bro, this is not the spot for that. I appreciate that. If I was in your personal studio and you walking me through this history lesson, I
So
do.
what happens is a lot of DJs play for themselves. They have sets.
Yes.
They have like real sets that they plan. They put it in their Serato and prepare, and they have a set. And no matter who they're playing for, they play the exact same set. I never ever do sets ever. I've never planned out my set. I literally get to the club 20, 30 minutes prior, listen to what the DJ's playing before me, and I'll look at everybody and see what's working and what's not. And I'll know, okay, I'm not playing this because he played this and they stopped dancing. Oh, he played that and they got up. So I know the direction I want to go in. And then I just get on my first record. And from there, everything else is easy to me.
That's what's up. And so, speaking of things being easy to me, easy to you, rather, and you said that also you've mentioned this twice. You said theater of the mind, and you first brought it up about talking about radio, being a DJ on the radio. What was that transition like for you? And I know you were hesitant; you didn't even want to do it at first. But what was that transition like, going from like the party street DJ going into radio, and what changes did you have to make, if any?
Great question, by the way. And a big difference because DJing on the radio and DJing in clubs are night and day. A lot of guys are really good on the radio, but they suck in the clubs. A lot of guys are really good in the clubs, but they don't get the concept of radio. So it was hard for me at first. I was really young. I was 20 years. Well, I was 18 when I first started mixing radio, but I was 21 when I got my first full-time gig. And that's when I didn't like, I wanted to just DJ. Like I love rock and party. I love being in the public and with people around me and feeding off the energy. And with radio, it's not that. Radio, you might have 1 million people listening, but you can't see anybody. So you have to really train your mind to act like you're in a certain place to keep yourself in the zone. And also a lot of records that work on radio, or a lot of records that work in the club, they don't translate on radio. So there are certain big records that are club bangers, but on the radio, nobody wants to hear it, and vice versa. So I had to really learn the difference between these radio records and these club bangers. And it took me a while, but once I got it, it's effortless at this point.
Now, I know Thea Mitchum is the one that sort of coerced you to go into the radio and kind of put you on in a sense. What is it that she saw in you, or did she tell you what she saw in you that made her say, hey, you need to be a personality, not just a DJ?
Thea, I love her to death. I tell everybody she is definitely get a lot of credit for my radio career, hands down. And she came to a club where I was DJing. I was already DJing on the radio, but I wasn't an on-air personality yet. And she came to a club and she saw me DJ and she saw how people reacted. And I remember her saying to me, "You're way too talented to just be a DJ." And I'm like, nah, I don't like DJing. Radio's corny. All those guys in radio, they're corny in real life. Like them guys, those are the guys that were corny in high school, and then they got a radio job, and now they're cool all of a sudden. So I'm like, I don't want to be in that world at all. And she's like, no, quick, trust me, like it'll change your life. And I'm like, I listened to it. But then once again, she's never told me anything wrong. So I listened to her. And she said, I'll coach you. I'll teach you how to do air checks. I'll teach you how to do radio breaks. And every day she coached me for about a year straight. And I'm glad she did, because becoming an on-air personality has changed my life. I went from just being a DJ on the show to now having my own show. And now I have a syndicated show that's heard in 10 cities. But none of that would have happened if it wasn't for me listening to Thea and pursuing an on-air personality job.
And now knowing that you have a syndicated show and not just a local radio show, and I know you've been in the radio game for years, do you prepare differently knowing that people are listening to you in different markets?
Absolutely. Right now I have a team. So, back then it was just me. Now I have a producer, I have a co-host, I have digital. So right now, we show prep every day before the show. We figure out what we're going to talk about. We see what's trending worldwide. We see what's trending in each market, whatever's popular in pop culture. So we kind of prepare everything, and then we come together as a unit before the show and discuss what are we going to talk about every break. So right now, it's a machine that's behind the Quicksilva show.
And speaking of the machine, before you even got to that, I recall you saying something like, "Oh," and everybody says this in radio. You're not in radio until you get fired. And I think you said you had an aha moment at that time of the importance of like diversifying your portfolio. So can you
Yeah.
talk to me about that moment and where your mindset was and what you did after that to get to where you are now?
So first, what I'm gonna say, as a guy who's been in radio for 20 plus years, and I interview people all the time, you're a really dope interviewer because you really
Oh,
do your
thanks, bro.
research.
I
You do,
appreciate
you
that, man.
do your research, brother. I do a lot of interviews and people they don't know anything about me, but I can tell you did some research. So I commend you, man. It's definitely commendable, brother. But back to your question, that aha moment, you're absolutely right. 2001 was the year when I got my first radio job. So this is like my first full-time gig, my first real salary, making some real money. I bought my first house. I'm 21 years old. And so I spent all my money and I bought a house out in the suburbs. I mean, in my mind, I'm living. I'm good now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I closed my home on a Tuesday, and that Friday, the station flipped formats and fired everybody. Everybody. From there down on, everybody. Me, all the jocks, all the DJs, we all got fired within one day. And I remember Thea saying to me, "You haven't been welcome to radio until you've been fired, especially for something that you had nothing to do with. But now take this as a learning experience to never put all your eggs in one basket. Use radio what you need to use it for, because all they're doing is using you. Radio cares about revenue and ratings. So
Mm-hmm.
the person who brings the revenue and ratings, they love you. The second your revenue and ratings stop, they hate you. So now once you realize radio really doesn't love you how you think they love you, like they're not, these companies, they're not loyal to you. They'll fire you or they'll throw you under anything to make them to save themselves. Once you realize that, then you use radio for what you need it for. Become that voice on and off radio. Become that voice of the people on and off radio. And that's something that I've done, is that whether I'm on radio or not, I'm still the same person. I don't lose anything. I've now connected enough with my audience that they don't care what radio station I'm at. I've been at every radio station known to man, and my audience always supports me because I support them. And I think that's a lot of times where radio jocks they get so caught in the hype of being at a radio station that they don't realize it's bigger than that radio station. Quicksilva is Quicksilva, whether I'm at your station, that station, this company, that company. I'm still me. I'm still going to be a man of the people. I'm still going to be at your kids' graduation speaking. I'm still going to be at your favorite club DJing. I'm still going to be at the March on Washington with Black Lives Matter with my shirt on, speaking at the people. Like, I'm really that person off of radio. So now that's what that taught me, is that once you become that person off of radio, radio can't make or break you. And a lot of people, they made radio such a priority. The second they got fired from radio, within a month, they were done. Nobody was booking them anymore. You don't hear about them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not me. I've walked away from radio tons of times in my career, and I've never lost anything. I never lost an endorsement or anything, because everything I do through me, not through the radio station. That way, if the radio station decides to fire me today, cool. Shake hands, no hard feelings. But everything that I came with, I'm leaving with. These are all my endorsements. These are all my stuff. And I've set myself up like that on purpose, because I've been in a position where radio dictated my life. And it happened one time, and I said it'll never happen again.
Right. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I saw somewhere. Are you a club owner too? You own a nightclub
Yes.
in Baltimore? Yeah, I thought
Mhm.
so. Now speaking of that, how has the, outside of just your club, the radio, your traveling gigs and stuff like that, you're a touring DJ, how has the pandemic like really hit you in a way that you just like, I'm glad that I have diversified my portfolio, because all
Right.
of, so because it has so many effect on brick and mortar businesses, the way we fly and travel the world, etc. Like how has your portfolio helped you during a time like this? That's my
So it definitely hit me hard, like it hit the rest of the world. I mean, the pandemic is real. But one thing I will say, if you're a true hustler, you'll figure it out.
mm-hmm.
So immediately when the pandemic first happened, and all the clubs shut down, and everything shut down, that's when the virtual space became really popular. Shout out to my guy D Nice, who's really owned the virtual space. I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
a great friend of mine, great mentor, by the way. But what I did was, when that first happened, I started branding myself around certain events virtually.
Mm-hmm.
When I realized a lot of these companies, they have what they call marketing budgets. And because the in-person or on-premise accounts shut down, they had all this money out there for virtual space. That's where the business end comes in a Quicksilva. So I started my research and realizing this company still has X amount of dollars that they have to spend. If they don't spend it, they lose it. Now, let me present them with an opportunity to now get their message still out there, but on the virtual space. So I started doing a ton of virtual events, which made up for the financial toll that I was losing not being in person. I ended up making on some weeks more than I would make if I was DJing. I mean, I treat it like a business. So once I, really got so big on the virtual side, I mean, a lot of publications start spotlighting a lot of my Instagram lives because I started really marketing and promoting. I wasn't just going live. I would get a flyer made and I would do certain events and I would have a sponsor by this company and it made my events virtually look bigger than life. But also that kept me relevant when everybody else wasn't doing virtual things. So it was only a handful of us that were consistent. D Nice has been the most consistent, but outside of him, it only maybe 5 of us that were really like every day doing something, and it was a different theme or something like that. But what I'm blessed to happen was, as soon as the world started opening back up, Quicksilva was already top of mind. Just this week alone, to give you an idea, I've DJ'd in Houston, Miami. I go to LA Thursday and Friday. I'm in Charlotte Saturday, then back in Virginia Sunday. That's 7 events in 1 week in 6 different cities. You know what I mean? So like, when the pandemic opens, it's still going on, but people are starting to travel again. All those promoters remember that Quicksilva was the guy that did the New Year's Eve virtual event, and now I've been top of mind. So honestly, the pandemic has been great to me. I started realizing, like you say, a lot of the brick and mortar things didn't make sense. So I started figuring out what do people need and how can I get it to them virtually. And that's when a lot of different business ventures, down to my daughter's company, Fashion Nation, to a lot of stuff, I just really started hustling. And I tell everybody, if you have the hustle in you, it's something you can't teach. If you have the hustle in you, you will always figure it out. And that's what I started doing, was figuring it out. And by the grace of God, using my hustle and my resources, I've been great. Honestly, I mean, financially, I've been like great in the especially the last few months. Business is, when I say business is booming, Jesus Christ.
I love it.
Business is booming right now. So a lot of people complaining. I'm not complaining. I am blessed and highly favored.
Oh, that's what's up. Now, do you see the virtual space still being a good money maker after the world, more like, for lack of a better way, when it completely opens up, or do you think it'll just go away and everybody will?
It's not going to go away, but it's already been minimized. So I'll give you an example. At one point, a lot of us virtual DJs, we were doing like a certain amount of numbers, and let's just use, like, I don't know, D Nice. That's a great friend of mine.
Right.
The one that when he went viral, he had like 100,000 people on his live, which had never been done in the history of Instagram. Like Instagram had to like redo their analytics to keep up with him. But if you look at his numbers now, they're not that anymore. So now on a good night, he might have 5,000 people, which is still great.
Yes.
And if he promoted, he might get 10,000, which is still phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't minimize that. But he's never known 100,000 people again, because now a lot of those people are now back active. They're back traveling. Even my lives on a much smaller level. At my big lives, I was doing maybe 2,000 people. Now when I go live, I might get 500 people, which is not bad, but it's not the same numbers because a lot of people were home and we were stuck home. Now you have the option to travel if you want. You don't have to if you want. And a lot of people are now exercising their right to travel, and they're back outside, as we say. I don't want to be in the house Saturday night watching my Instagram. I want to be at the brunch.
Yes, I feel you.
Smoking my hookah and watching some girls and people that, like, that's what people want now. So people are back to that, and they're back to it at a rapid rate, which making the virtual numbers, it's just not as popular. Like, I mean, I'll check you out if I feel like it, but I'm not staying home on a Sunday doing brunch watching you DJ. I want to go to the brunch now, and now I have the option to go. 6 months ago, I couldn't go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now that the option is there, I'm out here. I'm outside.
Right. Now, you kind of briefly mentioned this a little bit earlier. You said you talked about your daughter's company. So I want to talk about, have you instilled that hustler spirit into your kids, or do you see them like taking on that too, like, as they grow up?
Not even close. My entire family, from my wife to my son and my daughter, they all have the hustle. We all have the mentality that we never want to be dependent or work for anybody. And I say that, like, we have so many multiple streams of income at this point, from clubs to DJ schools to boutiques to real estate to you name it. We have enough going on within ourselves that if I ever lose anything that's like a radio or something, I'm okay. And I've instilled that in them. I always said you never want to be dependent on anybody or make someone feel like you need their money, because if someone feels like you need their money, you're controllable. The hardest person to control is someone who does not need your money, because he can walk away at any given time. Most people can't walk away from their job. You know why? They got rent, mortgage, car note, insurance. So they hate their boss and they hate the situation, but they get up every Monday and go to work. You know why? And they say I hate my job. I hate my job. And they go to that job every day until they retire because they have bills. I never want to be in that position. And I've been in that position before, but at this point in my life, I'm not anymore. I work now. I never say I work for anybody. I work with people now because I love what I do, not because I need a paycheck. And I think that's it. And I've instilled that into my family. Like, you never want to be dependent on a paycheck every 2 weeks, because at the end of the day, that person controls you. You think you're the boss until your boss walks in, and then you gotta talk differently. I don't have to talk differently around anybody. I don't care if it's the boss and the owner. Like, I'm an owner. I have 50 employees. The same with you. Like we're the same person, but a lot of times people feel like we're not the same person because I'm your boss. Nah, you're not my boss. I'm the boss of my world. Like, I got 10 companies and each company has employees. Like, and you work as the manager. Like, we're not the same, but in your mind, you're a tier above me because you're technically my manager. And some people that doesn't sit well with them. But for me, I make it very clear. I don't work for anybody. I work with a lot of people. I mean, I'm endorsed by more companies than I can count, but I don't work for any of them. From Puma to DTLR to Remy Martin to Indigo to tons of stuff, man. I got so much going on, but I don't work for any of them. I work with them, and we do a great job, and we make each other money. They pay me, but I also help make them a lot of money, so that's why they don't mind paying me. And I think that's just the mentality that I've taken amongst things just to make sure that I'm always myself no matter what.
Man, that's so dope, man. And I know you are, I know you're an advocate for the Black community, and you go stand at the rallies and you speak to kids and things of that nature. And I know you also do your vitamin of the day, which I think is really essential as well, bro. But just listening to you, man, you have such a dope formula, I guess I want to say. And I know everybody's formula has to be a little different, but have you literally ever thought about packaging up this wisdom that you have and like taking that like kind of out on the road and being like a motivational speaker, bro? Your story's so dope, man. I just really think I see something in you with all the, like, your hustle mentality, the different companies. I just think that's something that the Black community specifically could benefit from.
That's amazing. I guess you're getting an exclusive because you're absolutely right. I actually, my vitamin of the day has taken on a life of its own, to the point that we're already getting bookings for the vitamin of the day. So I'm in a space right now where we're starting to now really market those bookings where you can book me. I've done graduations in the last few weeks. I've done a lot of different companies that book me to talk to their startup employees to kind of motivate them. So the answer is yes. And I'm also working on I'm giving you a lot of exclusives, man.
I'll take it.
I'm actually working on right now. This is one of the reasons I'm going to LA. I'm working on a documentary, which is going to be a movie, which is going to be like a short feature film that's going to be called "Who Is Quicksilva." And this is really going. Everything that you asked about, everything will be in this movie. To a point where who knows where this movie could take me. I have some of the biggest producers and writers that's going to help me with this. So it's not going to be like some homeboy network thing. I'm going to put some real time and money into this, and prayerfully not just to expose to get myself out there more, but like you say, really to just inspire someone. I'm at a point in my life now where money doesn't excite me. Fame doesn't excite me. I've done that, been there, done that, made that. Now it's really helping others. That's really my mission statement in life right now. It's helping others and inspiring others to never let what you go through in life dictate your outcome. That's really my mission statement. We've all been through a lot of shit in our lives that could have killed us, could have broke us, but we're still here for a reason. And once you realize your purpose, you walk in your purpose and you make your purpose a reality. And that's something that I want to show people, not by my words, but by my actions. So I'm grateful that when this movie comes out, a lot of people are inspired to say, if Quick did it, I know I can do it. I can do it because his story is 10 times worse than mine. And like you say, you know, a lot of stuff that I've been through in my life, people don't even know about. And when they see it in this movie, they can be like, that's crazy. Like, I had no idea this guy's been through so much stuff. Like, dude, I've been in 5 accidents that should have killed me. My last 2 accidents, dude, I totaled my vehicles. I mean, I've been in I mean, God has a purpose for me in life. God has a purpose. I've been in so many situations that literally should have killed me, but I'm not. And it's not by coincidence. This is not an accident that I'm still here. It's not an accident that after close to 30 years, I'm still relevant and on top of my game. These are not accidents. Like I said, my life is tailor-made, and right now I can't wait for the world to see why.
That's what's up, bro. And we only got about 4 minutes, so I'm gonna let you get out of here, man. But
Thank you.
I was gonna say, man, you definitely are an inspirational cat. I can just tell that, man. But also, you seem like, to me, confident but unselfish at the same time.
Absolutely.
And what I mean, and I saw this clip, and what I mean by your unselfishness, man. I remember, I think I watched the clip of you in your own club, and I think you were showing your staff like Diddy was on like video, like giving them inspiration and stuff like that. So my question behind that is, man, how important it is to you to share the gifts that you've been given. Like, it seems like you're a sharing type of guy, man. Like,
so I'll leave you with the quote: "To whom much is given, much is required." That's a quote that I live by. And I don't do it with the intention to get anything back. I do it with the intention to help you and inspire you. And I've been blessed in my life, and I think at this moment in my life, that's why I said I'm not motivated by money or fame or cars or houses, like, or jewelry, whatever. Like, I'm really motivated by watching someone else win. And I've had so many DJs in my life that I've helped out, and they're winning now. And I get so excited when I see somebody praising a DJ that I helped out. And I never would publicly be like, well, they're there because I put them. Nah, they're there because I showed them a blueprint and they followed it, and now they're winning from it. And that gives me more joy than anything that I can do in my life right now, is watching other people become successful. My goal is to make everybody around me millionaires. And I'm going to do that. And that's, I don't have the answer right this second how, but I know it's going to happen because I'm not going to stop until it happens.
That's what's up, bro. And that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I got for you. That's a dope way to end. But I just want to say I appreciate you. I appreciate your time today, man. And I just wish you great success. And I promise you, I am gonna come to one of your parties, even if I gotta fly somewhere to go. I'm coming.
I'll let you know when I'm in Chicago, man. I'll be there soon.
Yeah, let me know.
Save me some hurls. Was it hurls?
Yeah, hurls. I got you.
I know about y'all.
Yeah.
Nice, brother.
All right, bro. You can be
cool. Have a blessed one, man. Thank you.